Okay, everyone, I'm doing a mic check. Let's make sure my mic is working and everything's good. If I put the mic right here, oh, popped off. That's the mic falling off is a no-no. So let's see. I think right here sounds good. Let's double check. That's what I'm doing. So this kind of sucks. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I can't quite tell. This is a good spot. Verdict. I'm gonna switch to a different mic to see if my other mic actually is working better. Because this one actually sounds really quiet at the moment. Let's do a quick switch up. Switch up. Okay. We're switching up to this mic. Okay, let's see how this mic sounds. This one sounds a whole lot worse. Okay. Okay, we're just dealing with we're gonna go back to the original one. Maybe if I unplugged it and plugged it back in, maybe that'll fix the issue, and we'll be good. If not, I'll just try to talk louder, and maybe that'll be just fine. Let me check one other thing. Let me grab one of my phones. Maybe it's just what I'm listening to it on is what it's making it sound bad. Grab one of my phones. Maybe it's just what I'm listening to it on is what it's making it sound bad. Okay. I'm content. I'm content with that sound. So we're just gonna live with it. So content is good enough for government. So good afternoon, everyone. Let me switch. Sometimes it does silly things, and right now it's doing that silly thing. I want to be able to there's what I'm looking for. Sweet. Okay, everyone. You are all having a good day on, I don't even know what, I think it's the 4th. Yes, it's the 4th. So let's get through the normal little fun parts. We've got it is that 42 or 12C today. So fairly nice. We're gonna peek up at the sky in just a second. Let's peek up at the sky and see. Got a big blue, or some nice blue sky dot there, and a blue sky slash there, and some blue sky dots, and a little bit of popcorn clouds, and all the good stuff today. So just yeah, just to fill you guys in, this is gonna be a slower. If you guys read the title, this is gonna be a slower, more real, more down key type stream than I normally do. I'm sad, so I can't, as much as I'd like to, try to do that fake it till you make it. I just can't. Like, I'm just sad. Generally sad. I'll be sad for a little while, which is okay. I think sometimes we try to mask being sad, and I think that we try to pretend that's not an emotion that we should be having. And I think that being sad is a very powerful emotion. I think it's a good one. It means that there was something that happened that was worth being sad about. So yeah, so that's what it is. So I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be wondering, well, Doc, why? Why are you sad? Like, what's going on? So, those are on Discord or those that follow me on other things know that about 2 weeks ago, my cat, Amatiel, she hurt her paw. We didn't know what was wrong, so we wrapped it. Everything was going good. And then one day she kind of chewed it up a bit, but it was fine. It was healing. We were treating it every evening, wrapping it, giving it a bath, a salt bath. And then, what was it, Thursday night I went to clean it and she was just not acting well. Just signs of bad, just signs of bad. Easiest way to refer to it as signs of bad. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I've had cats, I've had older cats before. I've had a variety, like Lisa brought some of her cats with her, and this year has actually been rather tough on cats here on the farm. And so there's just signs, there's just things you know. And I wasn't sure she was gonna make it through Thursday night into Friday. So after I redressed her wound and cleaned it up really well, she started doing the lost cat mewing. So it's different than meowing, and she was never someone that really did the lost cat mewing. So yeah. Some people will say if you raise cats and you talk to holistic cat people or you talk to people that have cats, they'll say they're calling to the other side, which is actually, I think, a great description for it, because it doesn't always, when you listen to it, there's a lot of stuff after watching it, you're just like, it just doesn't make sense. So calling to the other side seems to be a good call to it. So I was up till about 4 in, but then I noticed that she was getting better, like she was coming back to being livid again. So lucid, I meant. She's come back to being lucid again. So I thought, okay, maybe she's just going through a tough patch here, and it'll be fine. Well, the next morning, it's about 10 o'clock or so. She just really started going downhill. So I collected her up, and we went and sat and listened to music and watched YouTube videos and just hung out. I wrapped her up and she sat on my lap, and she was on my lap until she died. So, and why it's okay to be sad is, so Amatiel was the first pet I had as an adult. And I know there's some of you that if you've not had your first adult pet yet, or you're maybe just not a cat person, or maybe you're just not a pet person, I can understand why that might not sound like such a big deal. But I am a cat person, so that was I was present. I was present when Amatiel was born. I seen her probably minutes. No, I won't even say minutes. A mere seconds after she was born, I was present during that time. And so, the second she was born, she had this orange slash across her head. And at that time, I was always dyeing like my hair colors, but I'd always put red in my hair because I'd done that for years, absolutely years. It was before I started growing dreads. And so, like, having a cat that was a calico cat that had looked like a patchwork of all these other cats, and just so I had instant bond with this cat, instant bond. Like, I knew I was keeping it from virtually the second I saw it. And yeah, had her for 15 years and 9 months. So for me, that's a long, it doesn't seem like a long time to some people. I mean, at 45, you know, if you want to look at it, then that was been 1/3 my life. I had the cat for 1/3 my life, and you know, in the first couple years of life, you know, you don't. I don't want to say the first 15, but you know, the first 5 or 6, you don't really pay that much attention to. And so I had her a third of my life, and she was a staple here on the farm. Everybody that came knew who Amateel was. She was in everybody's. She'd hang out with everybody. She'd be around. She's just friendly. No, Amateel, she had multiple lives, because one time she was trapped for 6 months in a neighbor's garage, and I thought I had lost her then. And other times she got lost. She got trapped on a roof for about a month. Another time, but she in the last like 2 years or something, she didn't really adventure far out from home. So, but yeah, I just I knew. I mean, I'd already planned on this after I lost my dog a couple years ago, Mytherin, because he was another pet of mine. Wasn't my first. He was one of the dogs. He was my dog, but he was more of, he started off as mine, but then became more of a family dog. So, and I'm not trying to diss dogs, but I am far more of a cat person than I am a dog person. So, why did I just give those? It doesn't matter. So, and so with Mytherin going, I knew that it was going to be, I knew I was going to have to prepare myself for the eventual time that Amateel went. And I had already planned. Why did the screen freeze? Are we unfrozen? We're unfrozen. Okay. So I'd already planned. I already had some ideas in my head. I already knew that things were going to be real tough. I knew that it was going to be something that I was going to have to really prepare myself for, and I did. It's still not quite hit. Like there's times like last night, I was already. Let's see if it locks up again, because for some reason I'm getting a call in. Last night I already. I was ready to go do her leg again and clean her up and make sure everything was good, until I realized that I don't have to do that ever again. Like that's not there. And then I was, checked on to make sure I had to feed her, and well, I don't have to do that again. And so it was stuff like that. And some people might not understand a connection that you may have with some pets. So, and again, it's how you view the world. Being my spiritual belief system, I think everything has like a spirit and a soul. I think everything is like very, very sacred and very important. And so I also, while there's, people hear the concept of soul families and, soulmates, soul friends, I think that soul pets has the potential of also existing. So, and I didn't have that. I didn't actually know what that meant until having Amateel. But she was absolutely without a shadow of a doubt proved in my head that that is a real thing. So yeah, so hold on, guys. I'll be back in 1 second.
All right, John, here's my brother. Hold on.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to step away for just a second. My brother had a question for me. Because that's the other thing. As much as, I mean, I don't remember where I was in the subject, and it doesn't really matter. I could talk years, months, days. I mean, I had the cat for 15 years, so I could talk forever if I really had the opportunity to. But the other thing I want to point out, and this is something that I don't think a lot of people, no, I think people know. I don't want to say that people don't understand, but I want to point out, like, homesteading, farming, you know, off-grid, the lifestyle I chose, because I've chose this lifestyle that I live. It also means that, you know, things have to move forward. As much as I wanted to just sit and just not do anything and just be sad in my sadness, which is important. I did spend a little bit of time, and I will over the course of the future, however long that is, I will absolutely spend time with my sadness. But I also had to get the chickens fed. I had to, you know, make sure Sylvia was good. I had a lot of additional responsibilities that still fell on my plate. And I think sometimes people that are first time having this kind of lifestyle, you know, have to don't quite realize sometimes how harsh farm life is and how real. You know, when I mean real, it's like you are directly connected every day with life and death. You know, this week has been horrible. Apollo, one of my favorite rabbits, he didn't make it. I lost him on Wednesday, I believe it was. You know, lose my cat, the person the animal that's been with me the longest, longer than Lisa here and everything else. You know, I lost that. And so, but I still have everything that I need to do, still chores that need to get done, still life that needs to keep moving forward. Even though I want to pause, I want it to just pause. And you can't. So, but that doesn't mean that I don't get to be lost in my thoughts whenever I want to. You know, this has been a really really tough couple of years. So, you know, I was extremely hopeful for I was extremely hopeful for the 20s. Really, I was. And it's probably my age, because I think that when you're in your 40s, a lot of life catches up to you, and you get a lot of realizations. And so, for those that are younger and haven't went through all the life realizations yet, be ready for them. Prepare your mind, because they will arrive. But I I've always had a interesting relationship with death and sadness. I think some of you may know or not, and if you that I'm a reincarnationist, and I've been a reincarnationist for most of my life. I think that's probably the one thing out of all the stuff that I've practiced and all the stuff I've thought about and such. It's the one thing that I am personally 100% confident of. So that souls and spirits, this isn't, you don't play once, you play endlessly. I don't know for what reason, but you play endlessly. And yeah, and if that's not for you, this isn't, I'm not trying to preach a belief system. I'm just telling you where I come from. And so because of that, I have a unique relationship with thinking about death. So I can remember, when I was a little kid, our family dog died on my birthday when I was like 9 or 10. And then when I was 13, my grandmother died on my birthday. And then later on in life, a lot of stuff happened near my birthday, just like these events have happened, like what happened last year with my friend Stevie, what happened this year with my animals. So, and I'm sad, and I think it's cool to be sad. Like I was saying, I think sad is an important emotion that us humans often try to push through. We try to mask it. As much as I would love to, these feelings, the sadness that I have in me right now, as much as I'd like to, have something to mask it, take something to mask it, like, maybe for, I don't know, something to numb it. I also view this as something that I don't get to experience very often, thankfully. And instead of hiding it, masking it, is understand that this is one of the gifts of being human. And so we should be enjoying it's maybe not the right word, but we should experience it in a positive manner. So I like the saying, the sweet isn't as sweet without the sour. Bittersweet, bittersweet life. And I think that it's moments of sadness like this that you have to recognize that. Like I mentioned earlier, like the reason I think being sad is important is because if you really sit down and you're sad and you're thinking about the sadness that you're in, the fact that you're sad and that you're in a level of sadness also means that there was something worth being sad about. And if you think about that in a way, that means that you weren't boring. It means that things weren't, bad. It means that something pretty cool happened. The fact that you have a reason to be sad. So yeah, really that's what it breaks down. And so I'm not rushing it. I don't, this one I can't rush as much as I can try to fake it. I can't. I learned that lesson last year, doing everything I can when I was really sad to try to pretend I wasn't sad, to try to just put on a face and say, nah, everything's okay. While I'm really good at that stoic, it's all good, the male, it's all good statement. Like, nah, everything will be fine. It's all good. Just sometimes it's just not worth pretending too much, and just, playing it out, just letting it jive, letting it go, letting yourself experience the wonders of being human, the wonders of living a life energy that we are blessed with. Because I think that's also forgotten about, and I'm guilty of it as well. So I'm not saying that everybody does it. I'm just, it's easy to forget that life energy is, that life energy is the coolest thing about being alive. You can think about, if you're Christian, you can think about, going to heaven. If you've got those other relationships with gods, you can think about the wonderful things that they're going to offer you tomorrow. But sometimes I think we've mistranslated what those stories are telling us. And I think the story should be telling us that right now, you being you is awesome. And that we should be happy about being the version that we are, even if that version is being really sad. Even if that version is, not, confused, or even if that version is different than what you want it to be. At the end of the day, the sun's going to go down and the sun's going to go up. And if you are only thinking about tomorrow, or thinking about yesterday, or even thinking about right now, you're missing the whole picture that, you learn from yesterday, you dream about tomorrow, and you live for today, but you don't do any of those separately. You do them all in a nice group together. I think that's part of the reason why you hear a lot of threes. You'll hear people talk about, you'll see the three a lot. I think it's because it's to remind you to be in all three periods of made up time together. And that's how you thrive. So we're going to finish feeding everyone, and then we're going to go for a short little walk. Because I figured out the other day I can stream for about an hour and a half. So that means I've got a little bit of time after I get these guys finished that we can go for a quick little walk to show you, because it's just such a beautiful day. I want to show you guys some stuff on our walk. So you guys might be asking, because I know some people like to know stuff. So what am I doing with Amatiel? So I've talked to Lisa about it, because I'm probably going to put Amatiel in right now we call it the corn mausoleum. But the idea is we're going to put Amatiel in the box in there. So in the future, we will be able to acquire her bones. And I have Dude, ducks. Why are you guys ducks? Why are you fighting? Stop fighting, ducks. Stop fighting, ducks. Stop fighting, ducks. Stop fighting, ducks. Silly ducks. Just fighting. So I'll be probably figuring out ways to do cool things. Cool things with her bones in the future. I'm not sure what that is. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but something cool. I mean, if I had my way, if I lived in a culture that it was acceptable, I would absolutely have the bones of my ancestors. By the way, guys, the little trap I was showing you guys how to use the other day, it worked. So I'll take this guy up to the other side of the mountain. Probably I'll take him on our walk. On the adventure on our walk. If I had my way, I would have the bones of my ancestors, because I think that I don't know. Maybe it's my pagan belief system. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a weirdo. But that's what I would do. So, with my pets, with the ones that I think I have an extra special attachment to, I also did I did collect a few of Amatiel's whiskers. So cat whiskers are a very interesting thing. If you've never really followed into that, finding a cat whisker is very lucky. It's supposed to be a good luck and things of that sort. So making sure I had a few. Lisa convinced me to collect some of Amatiel's fur. So in the future, if there's a project I want to make, I can do that as well. Ugh. Need to finish this up in just a minute because I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anyone, but I can feel the waves of sorrow start to bubble up. And sometimes it's more difficult to keep them in check than other times, and I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those times or not. So sometimes it's if you guys have not experienced like what you might have is like a very substantial loss, like maybe you've not lost a loved one, or you've not lost a really close pet, or you've not just really been interconnected, you'll get these waves of sorrow. You get these waves that'll come through, and you'll just feel, there'll be a lot of feels, and they won't always make sense. You won't know why that at that particular moment, which I don't know why. You don't know why at a particular moment you're extra sad when just a minute ago you were not as sad. I think it probably has a lot to do with the interconnected energy that us humans have with nature that we have kind of forgotten or lost or disregarded. Okay. Everybody in here has been fed. So let me pop this in here now. So we're good. Let's get to the water. So I can feel like I've got everyone watered. And then we'll go for our walk. Oh. I'm just going to share this. I'm not sure this is a me thing, so I'm not going to say that this is related to anything that makes any sense. But one of the things that I know is that when I am sad, it is really hard for me to hold on to things, especially with my dominant hand. Sometimes it's like my mind it's just so preoccupied with the feels that I forget to keep gripping things. I mean, as soon as I remember, I get the grip back, but sometimes I'll be holding something like this, and then over time, my hand will just loosen up, and I'll just end up dropping it. And that is something that I do notice a lot when I'm sad. It's just, it's an almost like you just don't think. You're just not thinking, or there's so much bandwidth being used for other things that the bandwidth of holding something becomes less important. Like I said, that's just a me thing. something that I've noticed that other people might find intriguing. You guys got water. You guys got some water. Okay. Well, everybody is fed and watered. So let's continue on and let's go for a little walk. Let's take our mouse friend that we just captured here. And as we go for our little walk, we will send him off into some faraway land. So let's go through the blue stop sign gate. This is the main gate on the road, and we're gonna head up. We're gonna head up that way, just because there is an awesome view that I think you guys might enjoy seeing. And so we're gonna go up there, and there's also a good spot to drop the guy off. Plus, I haven't went on a nice fall walk up this way too much this year. So. I want to tell you guys I really want to tell the story about the energy that you feel when something dies, but I actually don't think I can get through the story right now. But I can tell you, now a lot of people receive positive energy, like a really strong, positive, awesome flow of energy. So I've heard that from Lisa and my sister and my mom, and I've heard this from other people about how when they're in the presence of something dying, there's just this, like when there's this feeling of like very positive release of energy. I don't have that. I have the exact opposite. I think I'll probably tell this part of the story. When I've been in direct contact with multiple life forces, probably only one human, but multiple life forces as they take their last breath and as the energy leaves their body. And I can tell you, for me, it's probably one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. It hurts. Probably I can explain it in a way. I mean, it's not nothing I'm ever gonna not do. Like I'm gonna hold somebody's hand, or I'm going to, be petting my animal or touching my animal or something. But when the last bit of energy leaves, for me, it feels like the inside of my bones are exploding all throughout every part of my body. It feels like my teeth burn like a sun. I always get a headache if I'm in the presence of death, always. And it's a headache I can't explain. It feels like someone has, it feels like a concussion. It feels like every part of my head was, like when you hit your head on something, it feels like that, but instead of just the single spot, every piece of my skull hurts. I have ideas on why I feel like that, but it could also be the way I view death. It's also, that's right there describing, for those that have not heard me tell that particular part of the story before, is the reason I don't, when I say I can't take a life, that's the reason. Simply because I know what's going to happen. I know what it feels like. I know what death, at least how my body experiences an external death, how that feels. And so I don't really enjoy that. So let me see. I think my mind's clear enough now that I actually can tell you guys what the final moments were like with Amityville. So it's really interesting. I want to tell the story because it's so interesting. It's just so sad. So if you've, and she wasn't unique. This wasn't unique to Amityville. I've experienced this with another cat, and I've experienced this touching a person. But after something takes its last breath, you can feel like you immediately feel the last breath. I don't know how to describe that. It's the last breath, but you're always thinking that the last breath, but you just know the last one for sure. Then after that, you start feeling energy move throughout the body. So that probably has to do with the blood not pumping, the heart not beating. But you can feel, I don't want to say it's like a seizure, but you feel like muscle pulses throughout the entire body. Just little ones, little pulses. That's when, for me, when I start feeling the little muscle pulses, that's when the pain starts. It's usually when like the pain just starts to intensify. And that's when I want to let go. You want to take your hands away, but I don't. And so you feel, I'm gonna let the little mouse go up here. Let's let it go right here. I'll let the little mouse right here. We'll let him go. Here, buddy. All right, go, 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 go. Good luck out here, dude. Probably won't make it, but good luck. So, oh, look at that big blue sky dot right there. So you feel the, so then after that, you start feeling the energy pulses die down a bit, and it'll end it'll end in some location. And at that particular point is when, that's when, for me, it just intensifies, and the last like 10 or 15 seconds of the life energy to me is excruciating. It's, yeah. So I think I'm going to stop telling the story right there, and maybe we'll talk about it again in the near future. But this is nice up here right now. It's a beautiful, I'll sit over here. It's a beautiful, I really like the sky dot right there. That's a really nice, we see sky dots here a lot. The circular, you get to see that kind of circular sky dots. They're very lovely. So but yeah, this is actually, we're looking at the view of, if my sister in the future, when she builds a house, this will actually be her view. This is kind of the spot up here where she might be planting her house. You've got the view of downtown Flat Top, for those who want to wonder. That is the beginning of the Blue Ridge Mountains there. You're actually looking into Virginia. The furthest peak right there is Virginia. So you're looking, and that's downtown Flat Top. My house is right there. Pretty much all of that behind that house is mine. Up that way, up the mountain, and then further up that way. Right there is the cemetery. Right there is the pond. And right near the pond is where we're going to have one of our homestead sites. So, Lurker, if it was absolutely possible for her to build an underground house, it would be cool. But right below us, you dig down, you don't get very far until, look, just right off of the surface, you can see that we're already starting to hit rock. So you go, it might be hard for her to run water lines, because I'm not sure where we're going to hit bedrock we could hit bedrock like just under this this soil coverage. But yes, an underground house would be awesome. One of the plans that I do have is I'm going to try to do an earth integrated house into the side of the hill at some particular point. I think an earth integrated house would be cool. But yeah, this is part of the reason why I say that I absolutely 100% enjoy where I live, because this is just, I don't know, I think this is a spectacular view, and we don't even have the best view yet. Maybe tomorrow I'll walk up to the top of the mountain. I'll walk up to the top of the mountain and I'll give you guys that view. Sunday will be a good day to walk all the way up. So when I say walk all the way up is we still have to, there's the ridge right there. So right up top is the flattest part of Flat Top. So we'll walk up onto the top up there, and we'll look over. The perk of getting up is that when we get over there, we'll be able to see over that tree line. So you'll be able to continue seeing that ridge. So, oh, look, some more blue sky dots are forming. Let's walk over here and check out these blue sky dots, because I think it's so interesting. There's always, over on this side, I'm looking west, I believe. South, never. Yes. Yes, I'm looking south. Well, actually, right that way would be southwest south. Or south by southwest, if you want to play that game. But yeah, blue sky dots always seem to appear somewhere in that, like on that ridge up there. It's always very interesting to me. So, oh, for those that maybe heard earlier, so we were talking about the corn crib mausoleum. So this is where later today I will walk up here, and I will, these are where future projects are as well. But, so if you see that box right in there, that box is where Mythrin is, and I will bring, Amatia will be up here, and in the future we will come and scavenge her bones and make a very cool project with those. Not sure what yet. So this road is the original West Virginia Turnpike. What's so cool about walking this is, before this was the Turnpike. So this was also American Indian trails. And so I'm walking down paths that people many, many, many generations ago also walked. And that is very, very cool. Do I get tick bites? I absolutely occasionally get tick bites. The pros and cons of living on a farm and living in and having a lot of edge and wildlife and such like that is you do occasionally get bit by a tick. Actually, I got bit by a tick like a couple days ago on the fat part of my leg, and it sucked. So, and yes, I've actually had Lyme's disease. So, oh, by the way, I see that it popped up. So there's the link below. This is what the hat looks like. If you guys are interested in getting that hat, you want one of these, and you want to support what I do, but also have a cool hat, you guys are welcome to get one. I'll mail it off to you. There's also another hat I have. If you just don't really like the orange and blue, I have a yellow and gold. We call it the duck hat. So, we do metal detecting up here. Yes, we have found some pretty interesting things. There is some old metal car parts. We have found some bullets, some Civil War bullets. horseshoes. We found pieces of old furnaces, and just lots of really cool things metal detecting. So I usually I occasionally have people stop over, and I usually let most people metal detect. Pretty much all I ask in return of metal detecting is you just show me what you got. If you got an excess of something, I would like a couple of them if you'd be so kind. But in general, if you only find one or two things, they're yours. I just like to see. I just like a picture. I just like to know, to document what I find on the property. So this is one of the places. I'll show you guys this. This is one of the places that in the near future, I will be. I want to put. I'm not going to cut down any of these trees, but between these trees and such, I'd like to put some cabins. And in the future, when I start my pocket community for like-minded folks, this will be one of the places for the pocket community. Until I get to the point of pocket community, that will be the place that the students that are coming here to learn the permaculture ways and my Appalachian wisdom, that'll also be places that they will be able to stay and thrive. Because if those that are maybe new and don't know what I do is I am the director of a nonprofit, and I teach people sustainable living skills, pretty much the basics. I'm kind of your kindergarten to permaculture, to homesteading, to gardening. Maybe you've never planted a seed, you've never wildcrafted, you've never done any of that. I'm going to teach you the basics. I'm going to teach you how to start. I want to get you out of your apartment and learn that you too can thrive outside. By the way, guys, look at, I was talking about the rose hips before. So we had our first frost. So I'm hoping, let's see how tasty these are. Hopefully they're going to be really sweet. Yeah, they're pretty good. So by the way, guys, just to keep in mind, these are rose hips. These are from Multiflora Rose. Very tasty. Each one of those rose hips give you roughly ooh, look at that, guys. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but I got a thorn in my a big thorn in my thumb. Got it out. What was I saying? Oh, I can teach you rose hips. Each one of those rose hips gives you about 1 gram of vitamin C, so you do not want to eat too many of them. You were asking if I ever see ghosts or anything weird of that sort. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. This was also the road that we're walking on was during the Civil War era. This was one of the places that they would camp up on top of the mountain, mostly because it was a good overlook. And so in the past, we've had folks say that they've, in the evenings, especially on like foggy full moon days, they've said that they've seen people hike up the mountain, and they've heard what it sounds like, musket shots or marching or such like that in the house. So in the house, because my house was built in 1897, or at least I should say that's when the paperwork was submitted to the state. So my house was built in 1897, and it was actually used as a hospital for a while. And I used to regularly have ghost hunters arrive and spend a lot of the evening doing ghost hunting, and we found some pretty interesting events that's happened. I know lots of tales of my house, lots of wonderful tales. So there's spots on the floor where you can tell that somebody was bleeding, because again, like I said, my house was used kind of as a hospital back in the day. So there was spots on the floor. Yes, Mark. And there was a previous. The idea was so there's my house right there, and we're gonna get a little closer to it. We'll get a little closer to it, and we'll look, and you guys will see the Victorianness of the other side when we move up in a bit. But my house has a second foundation, so we know another structure was there. Now, I have very little information of what that structure is. I do have confirmation that another structure was there because I have traced my property deed all the way back to 1787 when this absolutely was still part of Virginia. And in that deed, it does state that there was a structure here. And there is so much folklore and so much local lore about there being a clinic and a hospital here even before my house. So, and there was, so I'm going to zoom into that little, so that is, right there is like the oldest structure in Flat Top, right behind that church. That was a carriage house, and oh, we got real blurry, so I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, so that was a carriage house, and the house was right there. There's a house sitting right there. That was also a doctor's office. So my house was a hospital, and then right down the road was another doctor's office. And so there was a lot of medicine being practiced in this area, which is very interesting, being that this is a very small community. So there's more to that I don't know. I've heard stories that maybe we're on the positive, a positive Rose line or a positive Lang line, or just lots of good juju. So what Mark said could make a lot of sense. Is there's lots of natural herbs that grow around, and so maybe just because the natives, and here in West Virginia, a story that people you're not that aware of. This was one of the few places, because this was kind of like the hinterlands, a forgotten land, is we didn't have as many skirmishes between natives, between American Indians and that kind of stuff. This was not really, most of West Virginia, no one permanently inhabited. This was more of a travel through ground, just because the weather can be so harsh. And sometimes, like you guys will see this winter, when we go on some walks in the winter, weather can be extremely harsh here. And so it would probably be very hard back in the day, to keep a permanent settlement here. So it was more of a place that you would stay for the nicer months, and then you would go further south, or you would go closer to the river where the weather isn't as extreme. Because the weather can be extreme here. I can get as low as -20. I've seen that. Average a lot of times will be in, I think every year we get into -10 Fahrenheit every year. So that's, if we don't, that's extremely, I think that's happened once, and it was like 2012. We had a lot of snow that year. So sometimes when there's snow on the ground, it actually keeps it from getting as cold as it could. Why open a fence when you can just climb over it? So we'll go the long way, and I need to put this back in the barnyard. So anyways, there was not a lot of skirmishes. So there was a lot of very positive relationships with natives here. And this was, southern West Virginia was a spot that runaway slaves would hide in, because they just wouldn't look for people here because the mountains are too rugged. This was a place that when the Irish came over and they were kind of pushed out of their land, or when a lot of natives for Virginia were pushed out of their land, they came over here and they lived in the rugged mountains of southern West Virginia, because no one really wanted it. It's not that much different than today. The population, especially of southern West Virginia, has been dropping for the last 70 years. So if you keep that in mind, 70 years of a population decline. So showing that, this is not, there's just not a lot of desire to live in the rugged mountains. There's other places that people may choose to live. So because of that, you have a lot of positive relationships. There's a lot of people that have native folklore in their family that they still practice. There's a lot of different types of Irish folklore and Celtic folklore, and it's just kind of all blended here. African folklore. So I wanted to you guys some structure, the Mavis Manor, so that you guys can see it in its glory. One day I'll repaint it and make it very beautiful again. But there is Mavis Manor. You guys can actually look it up on Wikipedia. It has its own Wikipedia page. So and then we have a really nice rock wall, which I do actually need to be touching up. It's a dry stack rock wall that was put in place about 140 years ago. And then as you see here, it's kind of eroded and I just need to fix it up. It's just so many different chores to do here on the farm and such. So, but let's, we're gonna go up the stairs so you guys can see the last little bit of the adventure. And then I think I'm going to head about. And again, tomorrow, as long as the weather is suitable, tomorrow we are gonna go, after we feed everyone, we're gonna go for a walk up to the top of the mountain. And you guys can check out what the top of the mountain is like. So here is kind of like the driveway view of Mavis Manor. And there's Fernando coming to say hi. Yes, Fernando. And then Tanuki up there on the porch, which it's weird. Being down to just a handful of cats now. Well, anyways, friends, thank you for following me on this fun adventure. If you guys like to see pictures or you want to follow me along with that kind of stuff, remember you can follow me on Instagram, which is xvectorfirefly37. It's xvectorfirefly every place else. You're following me on DLive, you're following me on Kick. Thank you for following along. Enjoy having people ask questions and such. And feel free to ask anything you want. If you want to see more and you want to kind of directly interact with us, definitely check out my Discord. Just discord.gg/xvectorfirefly. Come in, join us. We talk about lots of stuff in a lot of the different rooms. Lots of different things we've been collecting over the years. So, and if you guys are interested in this hat, you'll see a link down below. The X Factor Firefly hat, 100% of the proceeds of this hat goes to me doing things here on the farm and be able to teach more outreach programs. And hopefully in the year to come, I will have a book and classes available for folks that want more detailed stuff. Most of the classes, first bit of the classes will be free. Some of the more of the advanced classes where you get to interact with me, they may have a small fee, but we'll see how that all works out. But anyways, friends, thank you guys for joining. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow when we go for that walk. And until then, it's Doc. Have yourself a wonderful day. Adios.